record. Ta-da!
Great. Well, okay. Well, the robotic voice has just announced herself. I'll take that. Oh, I got a question. I have made it a habit to save my chat at the end of Zooms like this, but I noticed that the chat is continuing from the previous Brima episode. Am I going to get that if I all of that when I?
I'm afraid you probably will, just because it's this breakout rooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll deal. As long as I can, stay in touch with the people that need to be. I need to be in touch with. All righty.
If I may, Brima is organic and non-toxic.
Yeah, we have no problem with them being part of the party. All right, so I'll get going then. And Celia, thank you for your ongoing help, and I will ask you for help as we go. And so I'm Danny Carnahan, and I'm running this songwriting workshop. And I wish we were out in the woodlands, but we're not. But this is something that I've been doing for decades now, out in the woodlands, and love it to pieces. It's one of my favorite gatherings of the year. My dirty little secret is that I think I get more out of this than you guys do. The energy I get from all the songwriters that gather at these workshops fires me up, and I always end up just gushing with ideas when I finish one of these things. And for that, I am quite grateful to you all for your participation and all of your wonderful imagination and ways of looking at the world. So here we are. Because you are here, well, first of all, I wrote a thing which should be available for you all to get through. It's somewhere, and you can download it or print it out. Celia might be able to tell you where it is, but it's sort of my spiel.
I'm included, just so you know, it's in the, I'm going to continue pasting it, because I realize sometimes if you join this later, you don't get to see it once I post it fresh. But so it's in the Lark Camp Music Library, and the link is in the chat. So just click that link and it'll take you to a different page for that information.
Fantastic. So so if you don't have a chance or time to read through it now, please do between now and tomorrow. That might help answer some of your questions. But so I'm a songwriter. I've been writing songs for 50 years. The first 10, I'm really glad no one is ever going to hear them. It took me a while to sort of find my way, find my voice. But I approach songwriting as the world's least competitive art form, in that I can't write your songs and you can't write mine. So all I really do in these gatherings is to find ways to sort of spark creativity, to get things going, get things rolling, and to remind ourselves just how much the world is dishing up to us pretty much every waking moment to help us write songs. Well, here now I'm getting nervous, because I like to kind of gaze around and check to see who is tracking and who is facing off, and who looks like they're frightened at the prospect of whatever it is that we're doing. We're going to be doing some real-time exercises, very brief ones, and just I'm going to be sending you out into the world between classes to do a few things. One of my favorite exercises is called lurking. We'll talk about that in a minute. I will also be encouraging you to write a set of lyrics in a way that you almost certainly have never done before, but in a way that once we gather again the next day, I'm going to try to pair you off and have pairs of you use this exercise to come up with a brand new song that you both can call your own. And you know, there's never a guarantee that you're going to walk away after a 5-day workshop with a song under your arm, but you got a good fighting chance of doing that here if you go along for the ride and try to do this. I'm not particularly interested in song genres. I'm not a real strict adherer to perfect rhymes. There's lots of rules that are probably good to know, and then if you want to work within the rules, that's great, and then discard them as they no longer amuse you, or you think that you can navigate without them. Songs, the popular songs of folk and pop and rock and a bunch of other genres, the form of these songs really hasn't changed in about 250 years, and there's a good reason why, and that the reason is because it works. Songs are a wonderful way to express a mood, an emotion, an idea, a time, a place, a story, and it's done in bits. It's done in bits that are organized and are easy for the listener to process and follow along with, and ideally sort of guess what's happening next. And what you do as a songwriter is you are delivering up patterns of words, patterns of melody, patterns of chords, and you're doing this in a way that sets up and pays off expectations. Sorry, hello? Someone spoke? Sorry.
No, someone is just background. Emily, I'm going to just mute you.
Okay. All right. And as I go, when you have comments or questions, please stick them on the chat, and either I or Celia will notice, and we'll try to address them as they go, so I don't get too far afield. But the idea of songwriting is I approach it with the idea that a song should or I don't know, should is a bad word. A good song does one thing well. It either paints a picture, or it states a fact, and it exposes an emotion, tells a story, and it's only got to do one thing. As a young songwriter, and I have spoken to lots of songwriters of 2, 5, 10, and 50-year durations of career, and everybody seems to have a similar story, that they started out by finding themselves paralyzed because they wanted the song that they were writing to sort of be this fabulous anthem, a la All You Need Is Love, or it wanted to say everything to everybody, and that's way too much pressure to put on yourself. So what I keep telling myself and tell others is just try to get your song to do one thing well, and then when it's done, stop and wrap it up. Take 3 deep breaths, and if you got more to say, write your next song. I was going somewhere with that. So I think the idea of the anthem that everybody in the world will respond to. There's only a handful of people per generation can pull that off, and so I say, let them. I'm not going to be one of them. But also your responsibility as a songwriter is to say your truth, to say something fun or well, and you put it out there. And the audience, their job is to meet you halfway and hear what you have to say and make something out of it. There's no way for you to make somebody feel what you feel in your song. There's no way for you to make somebody understand what you understand. You can only sort of present them with what you got, and they're going to make of it what they will. And so trying not to pressure yourself to insist that the song isn't successful unless somebody else feels what you feel. It's not going to happen. And it's just a mighty surprise, a nice happy accident if it does. So what I go out around the world. I go out in the world trying to keep my senses pointed outward, because I don't always wake up in the morning with an idea of what to write about. I rarely do. But somewhere walking around the world, something hits me. I have come to call this my favorite exercise, lurking, where I will go someplace, and this has become problematic in the era of COVID, but it's not impossible, because you do find yourself where other people are. What I like to do is you go out where there are people, and I used to say, coffee houses, restaurants, public transit. I used to love BART lurking, and just sort of go where people are, where they're interacting, and sort of overhear conversations, and listen for words or phrases that sort of just kind of pop out at you as unusual, something that either amuses you or is said in a way that you never would have thought to say. But it's important to grab them and write them down, because no matter how cool they are, and no matter how they amuse you in the moment, if you don't write them down, when you get home an hour later, you will not remember them. And so it is incumbent upon you as a songwriter to sort of get in the habit of having with you either a pencil and paper in your back pocket, or a recording device where you can lock down something that you pull out of your environment. And don't forget, it only goes by once. Arlo Guthrie used to say that writing songs for him was like fishing. You kind of toss your line into the river, and a fish will come by. Well, I mean, you might catch that fish, but that fish is not going to go by twice. If you miss that fish, you can hope to get the next fish, but you're not going to get that fish. And I thought that was profound. He also added that he complained that his career was complicated because he seemed to always be fishing downstream from Bob Dylan. But there are still fish for you all. So your first assignment for this class is to lurk, and ideally, I'd like you to go out and lurk. So, I don't care where you go. You can lurk each other. You can lurk your family. You can lurk the neighbors. You can lurk the television. But collect half a dozen lurks and write them down. And I would like to share them tomorrow. Some of them tomorrow. The ones that really might spur a lyrical seed, a lyrical idea. I have used students' lyrics, and students have used mine. Sometimes somebody will come up with a lyric that's so good that I just say, okay, everybody write something about that. Write me a 4-line stanza.
Danny, maybe you could actually give some examples of lyrics.
I
don't know if
can.
you have a notebook handy, but that would probably be really instructive.
Well, Celia, I'm so glad you said that. I have 1,000 lyrics in my lap as we speak. Let's see here. Let's see. I'll just kind of.
While he's looking, I have to tell you that this has been one of the most useful tools I have ever used. I've gotten more songs out of lyrics. So take notes. All
right. Well, this I have no idea. They're not dated. I just throw them in my thing. I never throw anything away. That's another good sort of baseline piece of advice. Never throw anything away. If you have a line or a lyric or a fragment that goes nowhere, don't throw it away. Stick it in a drawer, stick it in a file, stick it in a binder, and every now and then go back to it and see if it might speak to you again. I've combined things that were 6 months old with something else that was 30 years old, and suddenly the two of them together said, "Aha! Now I know what you're saying," and I've been able to proceed. Okay, here's some lyrics. One day I heard the following lyrics: "Ghost pancake. I'm happy to confess that I was wrong." That's a good one. "In my ear's rear view mirror. Get in touch with your inner obese cat." And "I wouldn't want electric fence and sheep." Okay, that was one day. The herbal tea party came up one day. We think we speak English, but we don't. See what I'm saying? They're out there. They're constantly happening. And if you start to make a habit of listening to them and paying attention to them, I think you'll be astonished at how many really cool phrases are just kind of blow by you out of context. The thing is, it's out of context. You don't really care what these other people are talking about. You're just like grabbing a phrase all by itself and chewing on it and enjoying it for its own nutty, fruity goodness. "You're not a bit like any of my ex-wives." I like that one. "You could say it was fate. The First World War among the beasts. That balloon keeps falling." I could go on forever. But let's see. Let me show you a song that came from a Lark. Let's see. I'm sure I've got one here. Okay. I for a while at various camps, at Cazadero in particular, because it's a family camp, lots of kids wandering around, free ranging. I found myself overhearing lots of kids' conversations, and there was one Cazadero long ago. These two tweens were walking by, and one of them said, "She said she's half a pony." Well, there's a phrase that I'm sure I would never have come up with on my own in any context. But she said she's half a pony. And so I wrote a whole song, but this is the third stanza. Was the one that has that line. Let's see here. I don't know what key this is in. Okay. Okay, so she said she's half a pony, and I wondered, did she mean it? If she had had a tail, you'd think somebody would have seen it. I know I would have noticed if she had 2 extra feet, or wanted hay for breakfast instead of cream of wheat. She said she's half a pony, but I thought she's kind of skinny. A pony would be fatter and would run around and whinny. If I was half a pony, it's not something I could hide. Maybe her half a pony is the half she keeps inside. Well, I had fun with that. I ended up writing a couple more stanzas that precede that to kind of set that up. But it's just a silly little ditty. But it's a ditty that popped into my life because I overheard that one line, lurking. So let's see. I've written, I don't know, dozens of songs based on lurks, and so that's one. Job one for you is the lurking. So I'd like you to go out there and aggressively, consciously overhear your fellow human beings talking, and then pulling things up. I had a friend who used to start every day to try to get songwriting going by just opening up a newspaper and throwing darts at it, and whatever phrase the dart hit, they would that would be their lurk, and they would see if they could tease that into an idea. That's okay, except the news is so depressing that I don't really want to start there. I have a better chance of amusing things happening as they walk by. A lot of dog walkers in my neighborhood. Maybe you can go to a dog park. Yeah, it'd be great. Dog park, not bad. So so there's that. The back to the way that songs are lurks in your. Thanks, Holly. Lurks in your lap. Yeah, lurking myself. It's been known to happen. So the structure of songs, when I say that the songs are done in bits and pieces that are easy to process, lyrics are generally organized in stanzas, often in pairs of lines. Pairs of lines often rhyme. They don't have to rhyme, but you can get a stanza of 4 lines where the first and the second line rhyme and the third and the fourth line rhyme. Or you can use the first and the third line will rhyme and the second and the fourth line will rhyme. Or they'll all rhyme. Or the first 3 will rhyme and the fourth one will just hang there without a rhyme. And what that is an invitation to move forward. And so you're saying that you'd be surprised when people listen to your songs, and you can sort of check your own mind as you listen to a song of how you're sort of planning forward. What am I going to get next? Well, if you get a line that rhymes with the next line, you're going to say, aha, well, I expect them to give me another pair of lines that rhyme. And if that happens, that is a satisfying moment of setting up and paying off expectation, setting up tension and releasing the tension. And a good song will set up and release tension with the lyrics and with the melody and with the chords and with the structure. You set up tension and release tension in a melody by not resolving to the final chord, hanging up and saying, oh, not yet, we're not done yet. I'm not done with what I have to say. And then when you finally do resolve, the listener goes, ah, that's great. That thought is finished. Now give that to me again, except different. Let's see. My favorite and arguably my most successful exercise is the one where we hang lyrics on the bones of an existing song. Because thinking about it, there's just very little new under the sun. All the notes have already been used, and all the chord changes have probably been used. So don't be shy about noticing what somebody else has done and saying, maybe I can kind of cobble something together in that form. And what I have done in my life, and what I've done a lot in these workshops, is to find a song that's out in the world, a popular song. In my generation, the Beatles songbook has always been sort of a bottomless pit of possibilities. And what you do is you map out the song. Say, okay, this song has a verse. Each verse has 4 beats in the line. Each line has 4 beats in the line, and the first and the second lines rhyme, and the third and the fourth lines rhyme. And there's a couple of those verses, and then there's a chorus that does something a little bit different. And you sort of like write that down. Say, all right, okay, these are the number of pulses or beats or metrical feet for those of you who are poetic.
Danny, maybe you can explain the pulses or beats part. Give an example.
Sure, can do. I'm about to give you an example. So here's a song I wrote on. Well, we're going to get to it in a minute. I wrote a song on Saturday, from start to finish. It was one of my good days. I got an earworm, and as I am of a particular age, my earworms often come from the 60s. And so this was, yeah, let's see here. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to start with that one because that one flies in the face of All right, okay, here we go. Okay. So let's try this. So this is, let's see if I can remember all the words. How does Ain't Misbehaving start? Fats Waller, Ain't Misbehaving, and Andy Razaf, the world's the only Madagascar native songwriter that ever won a Grammy. Two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, da 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 da. It's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's syncopated so they don't all land on the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 8 lines of 4 heartbeats, 4 beats, and the lyrics fall within those beats, and the way that the syllables fall use those beats to help sort of propel it forward, and they don't fight the beats too hard, so that you can follow the sense of the language as it goes. But I used that song, and one day came up with a song for a small child that is now 6 feet 2. So again, I hid your teddy, I hid your toys, I made your Betty and tried not to make a noise. There's no distractions, it's time to go to sleep. We'll all still be here when you arise. As you will see, dear, just open your little eyes. There's no distractions, it's time to go to sleep. I'll go on. Stop your wriggling, stop your wiggling, and for God's sake, don't start giggling. Tomorrow we can play all day. I promise I'd give $1 to hear you snore. So please don't holler as I tiptoe out the door. There's no distractions, it's time to go to sleep. So that's a song that's entirely new lyrics, just hung on the bones of Ain't Misbehaving. But what was important, and what I tried to maintain, was the length of the lines and the way the rhymes fell. So I hid your teddy, I hid your toys, I made your Betty and tried not to make a noise. So teddy, Betty, toys, and noise. There's no distractions, it's time to go to sleep. Well, it's interesting because, okay, the first verse ends up with, there's no distractions, it's time to go to sleep. Well, that rhymes with nothing. But what that leaves you with is the expectation that I'm going to come around again and give you another verse and either rhyme that or repeat that as the payoff lines. And I do. It will all still be here when you arise. As you will see, dear, just open your little eyes. There's no distractions, it's time to go to sleep. So I just use that as the way to sort of tie each verse into a bow. So that is what I mean by hanging a song on the bones. There's
a question that John Garelick wants to ask, which is, can you suggest ways to avoid rank parody when writing lyrics to an existing song?
I see that. John, what a absolutely tremendous idea. Well, no. That's an ever-present danger, and that sort of depends on the on your state of mind as you're going into it. You know, it may be that parody. I know people who Holly is one of Holly Tannen, who was one of us here in our little little family gathering here.
She's a lurker.
She's not a lurker. She's a gifted parodist, and that's her one of her cosmic wheelhouses. And I've always been impressed with her ability to parodize things in ways that I never would have thought to do. But you don't have to be a parodist to use this exercise. And what I'm going to kind of hammer at you this week is I'm going to try to get you to write lyrics that have as little to do as possible with the original lyrics as you can find. Just use the original shape of the song and put something brand new onto it. For instance, here's one that it sounds like a parody, but the song that it came with wasn't parodic. So yeah. Here's everybody my age knows this song. Dear Prudence, won't you come out to play? All right, I don't have to go any further. You know the song, okay? So, well, what if I was in a snarky state of mind that day, and so this is what I came up with. Complaining, never get my way. Complaining, everything looks great. I only stop when I'm asleep, and I wake up and I will keep complaining. Never seem to get my way. All right, just hoping that John and Paul would appreciate that. But that's new lyrics that have absolutely nothing to do whatever with the original lyrics, but hanging on that on the song. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do that in our own hearts and minds. I'm going to try to imagine new lyrics that fit the shape of an old song form. And the other thing is, don't feel compelled to write the whole song. If you can only write a verse or two, that's good. That's fine. If you can get the whole song, that's fine too. But what we're going to do is we're going to share these lyrics, your original lyrics, but you're not going to tell anybody what song you hung the lyrics on. And that's the key. So that if you do that and person X over here does that, and you trade lyrics without telling anybody where they came from, then you go off into your private worlds under your private little trees, and you, just using the lyrics in front of you, you come up with a new, an appropriate way to put a melody and or chords to those lyrics, just by virtue of their lyrics and not by virtue of where they came from. The lyrics separated from melody can take you in dozens of different directions, and certainly dozens of directions that the writer of your initial seed song never had the faintest idea would be part of the game. So this is how I propose we're going to come up with a whole bunch of songs that you can proudly call your own. That, yeah, they came from another song, but who cares? No one will ever know if you don't tell them. So getting back to the song that I wrote on Saturday. And oh, by the way, I'm doing a whole lot of talking today. I'm hoping that we're going to have a lot more interplay and other people coming in with examples of lyrics, and I want a lot more colloquy and conversation starting tomorrow. But by tomorrow, I think we'll have a lot more to talk about, because you will have gone out and lurked, and you will have gone out, and I hope done a couple of other little exercises we'll get to before the end of this, and done your hanging exercise. So so here's I wonder if I should do this. I should do the song, because the song I'm happy to say that this song really doesn't resemble where it came from, and then I'll tell you the earworm that started the whole thing. So let's see. So try this. Okay, so I met a guy in Dublin, he'd walked from Australia. I wanted more than anything to walk to Australia. I had no idea how to get to Australia, but I told myself I'd get around to it. When I was 10, I sang in the living room, cranked up the stereo, danced in the living room, dreamed every day I'd sing on Broadway, told myself I'd get around to it. But that stuff never happened, but it seems life turned out fine. I knew a guy climbed Kilimanjaro, all the way in Africa, that's pretty far. Oh, I saved my dough to climb Kilimanjaro, told myself I'd get around to it. And I knew a gal who wrote a bestseller, made it look easy to write a bestseller. Turned out it's hard to write a bestseller. I wrote myself a note to get around to it, but that stuff never happened. But it seems life turned out fine. What I got around to was a wife and a boy and a house and a garden I can wander about. What I got around to was a life with joy. What a nice surprise, how well it turned out. And about that guy who walked from Australia, never knew why he'd want to walk from Australia. Glad I didn't try to walk to Australia. Glad I didn't try to get around to it, 'cause that stuff never happened, and it seems life turned out fine. No, that stuff never happened, and it seems life turned out fine. So, a happy song. So that's the song I came up with now, and this I'm glad to say actually follows the rhyme scheme and the lyrical pulses of this other song. You might have noticed that the rhymes either are there, like first one, Australia, 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 are the ends of the first three lines. They rhyme with themselves. And then get around to it rhymes with nothing. And the rest of the rhymes sort of come and go. Kilimanjaro, pretty far-o, Kilimanjaro. Bestseller rhymes with itself 3 times. Then living room, and Broadway. Well, no rhyme there. But the original also didn't rhyme. So let's see if I can find the and I apologize for dropping this brainworm into your head, but let's see. All right, here it goes. It goes. When we were at school, our games were simple. I played the janitor, you played the monitor. Then you played with older boys and prefects. What's the attraction in what they're doing? Hey, Carrie Ann, what's your game now? Can anybody play? Hey, Carrie Ann, what's your game now? Can anybody play? A horribly catchy song by the Hollies, 1964. Thank you, Graham Nash. So it was partially in an effort to get that damn song out of my head that I wrote my Hang on the Bones song, and then sort of looked at the lyrics and tried to come up with chords that had nothing to do with the original chords. I stayed with pretty normal chords. Now, what this song has is verses, chorus, and a thing called a bridge. And these are kind of the building blocks of a lot of popular songs. And my definition of a bridge is just a section of a song that after you've sort of said what you want to say a couple of times, and the listener says, okay, got that, but says, yeah, well, kind of ready for something different. So the bridge takes the song elsewhere briefly and brings it back, hence bridge. And a bridge can be one line, or it can be a whole quatrain. It can be, as long as you like it. It can be, it can have lots of differences that come in, but often a bridge will either melodically go above or below where you've been before in the song, or it will incorporate a chord or more than one chord that you haven't used before, just to sort of go elsewhere. That was unexpected. Or it can even sort of modulate into a different key briefly and then come back. That's tricky, and that's probably more trouble than I usually take. But so my meta guy in Dublin says, I'm meta guy in Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 chord. Dublin to walk to Australia, 1 chord. I wanted more than anything to walk to Australia. Minor 2, I had no idea how to get to Australia, or it's a 2 chord. Get to Australia. 5, I told myself to get around to it. And these numbers are the chords that are based on the scale steps. So this is in the key of D. So D, E, F, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. Right? No, that's A. It's in the key of A. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, F, G sharp. All right. A. Some sharps in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is 1 again. So you can build a chord on the 1. So it's a 1 chord. It's very solid. Happy to be where it is chord. It's very stable, stays put. And then the 4 chord is a 4, 1. And so when you establish that you're in this key and you hit a 4 chord, one of the things that the listener, the mind of the listener does, whether the listener knows it or not, is that the listener says, well, that's hanging up in the air. It's got to go someplace. It's an unstable chord. It does not want to stay there. It wants to go back to that. So that's one way of making something tense and then releasing it again. So 4 to 1, 2 to 5. So they're all very simple, standard chords. 1s, 4s, and 5s are the 3 most common chords in songwriting. And a 2 is often a lovely substitute for a 5. So what I did was, in the bridge, was I sort of went down to what's called the relative minor. I went from A to F sharp minor, which is the 6th chord, minor 6 chords. So 5, 6, 7, back to 5. So I used a 6 and a 7 chord in the bridge that I never trotted out in the rest of the song, and then went back and I reestablished. I repeated the familiar verse form, And that's only fair, because you don't want to like leave people saying, well, where the hell is this song going? Just tie it up in a bow, please. I remember what it was like at the beginning. Give me that again. I'll give you that again. And so that never happened, and it seems life turned out fine, and the song turned out fine, and I'm kind of happy with it. That was a good couple hours work there on Saturday. So
Danny, you've got
yes.
about 10 minutes left.
Yes.
Just to give you a high sign, and it might be good to sort of reiterate what you expect people to bring tomorrow.
I will.
And then maybe make some space for some questions. One thing that Suzanne asked is, will we share lurks and lyrics in chat or allowed taking turns? And I said probably allowed, and I think that will be fairly easy to do if you want to do it that way. But I now leave you to describe, and I will make notes about what is expected tomorrow as you tell it.
Yes. Well, as I said, as much as possible, I'd like to have a back and forth conversation. I'd love to hear your voices and see your faces as you deliver things, and we talk. So yeah, we can put things in chat. Anything that's put in the chat, I will probably be able to snag and save. I've left you my email address, and if you wanted to email me, we can continue a personal conversation about your little songwriting journey this week, and I would love to do that. And if you put your email address in the chat, everybody will know it, and that's if you feel particularly chummy and want to get out there. But after this, Celia is going to make another little room available for us after we're done in 10 minutes, I think. And I'm going there. I will go there, and then we can maybe have further conversations if anybody wants to keep going for a few minutes. So we'll figure out how to do that, and Celia will help us do that. But for tomorrow, I'd like for you to come with half a dozen lurks. If you get more than half a dozen, don't stop. Keep lurking. I'd also like you to find a song. Just find a song that you like. I used to say that you find a song that other people are likely to know, and that's not necessary, but it kind of makes for a fun reveal if you if you sing the song and you and your collaborative partner present a song saying this is the song that came from lyrics that really originally tracked the pattern and shape of another song, and then when you come and say, well, this is the song that started that particular ball rolling. Those reveals are almost always pretty astounding, because they almost always show just how far the final product is from the original inspiration. So I'd like as many of you as possible to do that. Hang lyrics on a song, and let's see here. In the Woodlands, we do writing exercises, real-time writing exercises. So everybody should have something to write with. And so I'm assuming that you've got something to write with. And so what I want to do right now is one of the little exercises that I have in my spiel. And what do I call it? Yeah, I just called it object writing. So this is it. We're going to spend 1 minute, and this is one of the keys to little writing exercises is brevity. You don't want to spend a whole lot of time thinking, overthinking. You don't second guess yourself. When you start writing, and you just keep writing, keep the pencil moving. And so I say, pick an object in the room, wherever you're sitting, pick an object in the room, any object you like. But now, while you're examining this object, free associate and make a list of every possible use for this object, no matter how outlandish, no matter how bizarre. And you've got 1 minute starting now. There's the sound. Oh, stop. Shut up. All right, you're done. So what you've got now is a little automatic writing exercise about an object. So now read through what you've just written, and you can pick a phrase that may or may not have anything to do with the original object. Pick a word, a couple of words, a short phrase. And when you've got that, write that down separately and see if you can come up with a 4-line stanza using that phrase. Now, by 4-line stanza, I mean 4 lines. It can rhyme in any pattern you like. I would recommend they have 3, 4, or 5 beats per line. They don't all have to be the same length, but for the sake of just sort of making yourself aware of patterns and working within patterns, let's say for this exercise, make them all the same length. And see what you come up with. Now, this is another thing that I would love to share any results that you might have. I was just going through my little thing here, and one time in the Woodlands, the object that I hit on for this 1-minute writing exercise was one of the kids, Aiden, in the workshop, and I just was looking at his hair, and I wrote for a minute about Aiden's hair. and lines like, I wish I had curly hair was one, and there was something about mush down in the back. And I go, mush
That was
down
funny.
in the
I
back.
remember that one very plainly. I'm going to wrap it up, or recommend we wrap it up. And
Yeah.
I did
Okay,
list I listed the 3 things. Lurk, that you want to come back with tomorrow.
Yes.
About half a dozen lurks. You want to find a song that you like that might be familiar to others and hang your own lyrics on it.
Yep.
And of course, just what you just did now, 4-line stanza using your free write phrase. If you would like to continue talking, we have extra breakout rooms that have names that correspond with places at Lark Camp. And so I would recommend, since you see that if you look at, if you click on the breakout rooms and you scroll down toward the bottom, there's something that says fire circle, and there's nobody in that room at the moment, that if you wish to go there, and Danny can go there also, and you guys can continue to have lots of questions and discussion with him there, and nobody will bother you. Or when they join you, you can include them or whatever you want to do. So,
Well,
but we need to get out of the way for the next workshop. So
in a minute, I will be at the fire circle, and I will look forward to seeing anybody there that wants to join me. And let's talk further. All righty. So see you there.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Danny.
Wait, where's fire circle? Where is it? Okay.
Just scroll all the way down. It's toward the bottom. You'll see a bunch of things pop up at the bottom of the breakout room.
Oh, I got it. I'm in.
Okay. See y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. And Terry, unmute yourself now. If you need help, I can help you.
Okay. Yeah, I've never done the moderating before, so.
Okay. Let me see. So you don't really need to worry about the breakout room window, but what helps is if you go down to the very bottom bar, and at the bottom it says participants. And hopefully, let me clear this thing out so I don't have to look at that either. I see you here. Are you actually a co-host? You're not a co-host yet. So you're going to go back to the main room. So you'll click. Room? Well, if you, I'll tell you, when you go down to the bottom right-hand corner, you see a blue thing that says leave room.
Yep.
Okay, you'll click on that. That will take you, and then you'll agree that you want to leave this room, but not the meeting. When you're back in, that takes you to the main room precisely, and at that moment. And are you gone already? I can't tell. I think she's gone already. All right, gang, I'm leaving this room. I'll see you.
Okay, who's the moderator for this one? Is Terry?
It's Terry, and she's just getting herself into the main room so she can be named co-host, and that way she can do what she needs to do.
Yahoo!
Yahoo! How are you, Kevin?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. A little harried. It's a hive of activity here. We're taking down an oak tree. I was worried that would, but it's not too loud, and I had work all morning, and I'm just finished, so I'm here. I'm good.
I'll have her here until Terry comes back as your faux moderator, and hopefully she'll get back here.
Now, how can I see who's here? I mean, I just looked at participants, but is there a way to see faces, or should I not do that?
It's up to you. I think for them, they'll probably want to choose speaker view so they can watch you, but you can use gallery view, and that would give you the sort of Hollywood squares. Then you'll see everyone's faces. And but that's up to you. And there are many people who prefer to have their video off so you only see their name and don't see their faces anyway. So it's kind of what's least distracting to you, I guess, would be the name of the game. If you find it better to see some folks. So Terry, now you are back and you are a co-host. And what you need to know is that if you go to the participants icon at the very bottom of the page and click on that, you'll see all sorts of people's names come up. And if anyone should be making background noise, you can mute them quietly so that their feedback isn't participating. And with that, I shall leave you. Are you good? Looks good. All right. Good luck.
Wait, why is it recording?